What should Christians' first reaction be when there is a catastrophe or something terrible happens? We see situations going on like Ukraine, where people are being killed. We see situations like Afghanistan, where Christians and tons of people were being needlessly murdered. We look at this and what should our first reaction be? It's terrible because there are so many things that are going on in this day to day. There's so many catastrophes that go on. It's been going on for centuries. We're going to continually have catastrophes go on. And so, what should our first reaction to these situations be? Well, I think that we should look at the Bible for this. I think we should be looking at the Bible for everything for our advice. We look at Esther 4. Esther 4, 1 through 3 and 16. And it says this: When Mordecai learned of all that had been done, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and went out into the city wailing loudly and bitterly. But he went only as far as the king's gate, because no one clothed in sackcloth was allowed to enter it. In every province to which the edict and order of the king came, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting, weeping, and wailing. Many lay in sackcloth and ashes. You see, the edict that they're referring to is when the king of this region was convinced by one of his officials to exterminate all of the Jews. That means every single man, every single woman, every single child, every single one was going to be exterminated because this official had been offended by one of the Jews. He felt that he had been insulted, so he decided to convince the king to make an edict to kill them all. Now we pick up in verse 16, and it says, Go gather together all the Jews who are in Susa, and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day, and I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. Esther is the one who said this. She was the queen at this time. She was actually a Jew, but she was a queen. And she was beginning to get up the bravery to go to the king and say, stop this edict, to request of him, please do not have my people be killed. And this is a big deal because her entering the king's chambers could end up with her being killed. Because the previous queen, the king had gotten mad at because she had done some things that he got upset with, and so he decided to make a rule that no one could come into the king's presence without him first inviting them. Therefore, Esther could not go into his presence just randomly, which she was going to do for a request. And you see, what we see in this situation is, what is their first reaction? Their first reaction here was to pray and to fast. That is what the Christian first reaction should be. Our first reaction should not be going to some other medium and looking at a mentor and saying, what should I do? It shouldn't be going up, looking up a YouTube video, what should I do? It shouldn't be looking on the internet and going, what should I do? Those things are not bad to do, but they're not the best option. They're not our first option. Our first option should be to pray and to fast. You see, prayer is not an option for Christians. It is mandatory. The same thing goes for fasting. We see Jesus in the New Testament actually talk about how fasting is important. He said this. He didn't say if you fast. He said when you fast. And that's a key thing to distinguish. Jesus said when you fast. It is an expectation that we fast. It is an expectation that we pray and that we fast. And that is our first reaction. So when we see situations like Ukraine, when we see situations like Afghanistan, when we see situations in our own lives, we need to make sure that we do these things first. An interesting thing that I think of is, it seems often that when big catastrophes happen, that's when we pray. That's when we start fasting. But what if we started doing that in the small situations? What if we started doing it in the small moments of panic, in the small decisions in life? Think about how the world would be changed. Think about how the Christian life, think about how your life would be changed if you started doing that. You see, I encourage you, don't just fast and pray in these big catastrophic situations. Fast and pray in your own life when you're like, what am I going to do? What job am I going to accept? What school am I going to go to? Do it in the smaller decisions, or even smaller than that. What person am I going to be in a relationship with? What do I do for this decision? Do it in the smaller decisions in life. That's what I encourage you to do. And as you're going into this week, I really encourage you, Fast and pray. That is something that's so key to the Christian life that is so overlooked. Thank you so much for watching this video. I encourage you to leave a comment, like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, and send this video to someone else who you think would find value from this content. And as always, have a great day.